Becoming a Formula One driver is one of the hardest things to accomplish for an athlete. The odds of making it to the grid as a full-time driver are extremely slim. F1 has had around 775 drivers since 1950. It is estimated that 100,000 young drivers compete in karting per year, with only 30 to 40 of those drivers reaching Formula 2. Now, assuming only 2 to 3 of those drivers make it to F1 each year, the probability of becoming a Formula 1 driver is about 0.002%, or in other words, a 1 in 50,000 chance. Keep that number in mind as we dive into the improbable story of F1's most famous brothers, the Schumachers. But first, let's take a look at other siblings who have competed in Formula 1 and how their careers panned out. The Rodriguez brothers were the first siblings to compete in Formula 1. Ricciardo raced for Ferrari with 5 Grand Prix starts and a best finish of 4th. His older brother Pedro began his F1 career in 1963 and went on to compete in 54 races, scoring 2 victories and 7 podiums. Many know Jackie Stewart as a legend of F1 and a 3-time world champion. But 12 years before his F1 debut, his brother Jimmy put the Stewart name on the map when he started his one and only F1 race at the 1953 British Grand Prix, which ended in a DNF. Next came the Fittipaldi brothers, who made history by becoming the first brothers to compete in the same race. Emerson, a 2-time world champion, drove for Lotus and McLaren before joining his brother's team in 1976. Wilson Fittipaldi never managed the success of his brother, with no race wins, but he did manage 35 race starts with a best finish of P5. Right around the same time came the Scheckter brothers. The South African siblings competed in F1 during the mid-1970s. Jody achieved significant success, winning the 1979 World Championship with Ferrari. Ian participated in a few races, but did not achieve the same level of success as his brother. His best finish was a 10th place at the 1977 Dutch Grand Prix. Villeneuve is one of the most famous names in F1 history, and before Jacques became world champion, his father and uncle also competed in the sport. Gilles was a legend of the sport who unfortunately passed away too early, but he left a lasting impact on Formula 1. His brother Jacques Joseph attempted to qualify for races in the early 1980s, but was unsuccessful. Next were the Italian siblings, Teo and Corrado Fabi. Both raced in F1 during the 1980s. Notably, in 1984 they competed in the same season for the same team, Brabham, but they did not participate in the same races, as Corrado served as Teo's backup, while Teo was also racing in IndyCar. Teo Fabi managed to score 2 podiums in his career, while his brother's best result was a P7 at the 1984 Dallas Grand Prix. You might remember the name Winkelhock, but it all started in the 80s with the Winkelhock brothers, Manfred and Joe. Manfred started 47 races for ATS, Brabham, and Ram from 1981 to 1985, while Joe failed to pre-qualify for the first 7 races of the 1989 season before his AGS team replaced him. You also had the Brabham brothers, sons of F1 legend Jack Brabham. David and Gary made it to F1, with David starting 24 Grand Prix and a best finish of 10th. His brother Gary debuted in the same year as 1990, but failed to pre-qualify for the first 2 races of that year, marking the end to his F1 career. One honorable mention before we talk about the Schumachers is the Leclerc brothers, Charles and Arthur. In December 2024, the Monegasque siblings made history by becoming the first brothers to participate in the same Formula 1 session as teammates. Arthur replaced Carlos Sainz Jr. during the first practice session of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, marking a unique moment in F1 history. So that brings us by far to the most successful siblings in Formula 1 history. Their individual numbers are impressive, and quite frankly, it is likely that no sibling pairings will ever match the success of the Schumachers. Born in Germany, the Schumacher brothers were introduced to racing at a young age thanks to their family's involvement in karting. Their father managed a local kart track, providing both Michael and Ralf with early exposure to motorsports. Michael's talents became evident early on. After securing German and European karting championships by 1987, he transitioned to car racing, winning the German Formula 3 championship in 1990. His impressive performances led to a Formula 1 debut with Jordan in 1991 at the Belgian Grand Prix, where he qualified 7th. Following in his brother's footsteps, Ralf began karting on the family-owned track. He achieved 3rd place in the German Formula 3 championship in 1995 and won the Japanese Formula Nippon championship in 1996. Ralf made his Formula 1 debut with Jordan in 1997, securing a podium finish in just his 3rd race in Argentina. Michael's resume in F1 history is well known, and he's regarded as one of the greats of our sport. 306 race starts with 91 wins, 155 podiums, 68 pole positions, and 7 world championships. Although Ralf never reached his brother's level of success, his career was damn good as well. He won 6 races in 180 starts with 27 podiums, 6 pole positions, and 8 fastest laps. At the 2001 Canadian Grand Prix, history was made as Ralf Schumacher took victory ahead of his brother in what became the first and only 1-2 finish by brothers in Formula 1.
First time a brother pair being first and second on the podium, so a happy family day, I'd say.
Remember at the beginning of this video when we outlined the statistical chances of becoming a Formula 1 driver? You have about a 0.002% chance of making it to F1. To put into perspective just how astonishing the Schumacher brothers story really is, the chances of siblings racing in Formula 1 at the same time is about 0.00001%, or in other words, 1 in 10 million. For Ralf and Michael to have raced in F1 at the same time is incredible, but to have achieved the same amount of success they both did, racing for 2 separate legendary teams, is almost next to impossible. The Schumacher brothers' simultaneous presence in Formula 1 during the late 1990s and early 2000s was a unique chapter in the sport's history, showcasing their family's significant contribution to motorsports. And it's also a reminder of just how special the Schumacher family was, considering we may never see a sibling pairing in F1 as great as they were ever again.